Revealed, how 3 abandoned triplets transformed a young billionaire's life and his wife's heart. On an ordinary Saturday, Alex Carter, a 32-year-old tech titan worth billions, found himself in a world far removed from board meetings and CEO facades. At a local homeless shelter in Seattle, he was surrounded by an atmosphere heavy with the scent of regret and lost dreams. Just as he was adjusting to this unfamiliar setting, a trio of laughter broke through the weight of despair. Ella, Max, and Sophie, 3 abandoned triplets, played intently in a corner despite the vastness of their circumstances. Their giggles danced through the air like rays of sunshine breaking through clouds, catching Alex entirely off guard. He felt something shift deep within him, an awakening. In that moment, he became acutely aware of the emptiness that the glimmer of success could not fill. As he knelt to their level, their faces lit up, innocence radiating through their bright eyes. "Will you play with us?" Ella asked, her freckled cheeks flushed with excitement. He didn't know how to respond as joy swelled in his chest, promising something he had yearned for but never owned a sense of purpose. Against the polished backdrop of his life, Alex began to see the depth of what was missing amidst all the noise: family, connection, love, the beautiful chaos found only in the arms of children. His heart raced. These little ones, struggling yet so vibrant, pulled at his soul, encouraging him to rethink everything he'd known. What if he chose them? Instead of conquering the tech world, could he conquer fatherhood? But Emily, his devoted wife, was not ready for such a leap. They had shared a dream of a clean, perfect life together, untouched by the clutter of children. As he excitedly shared his thoughts about adoption, he watched her face cloud. 3 kids, Alex? Are you serious? She replied, voice faltering like it was caught in the wind. Fear danced in her eyes, and he could see her worry. Would his passion for the triplets overshadow their partnership? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As summer wrapped its warm embrace around the couple, a new reality unfolded. The adventure of parenting the triplets began. Sleepless nights and sticky hugs turned into laughter and heartwarming moments. Still, shadows loomed. Whispers in the community grew louder, insinuating that Alex's act of kindness was simply a calculated publicity stunt. What was he really trying to prove? As sinister doubts crept in, Alex clamped down on his own insecurities. His heart raced each time he encountered those knowing glances. Were they right? Was this all one big charade? But he couldn't let the murmurs seep into his love for those kids. The moment came when he felt compelled to confront them all. Standing in front of the community during a town hall meeting, he looked out into a sea of skeptical faces. Silence enveloped him, thick and palpable, as he clutched the microphone. Was this the moment he could reclaim his truth? With a shaky breath, Alex readied himself to shatter the burden of doubt. Would they accept him for who he was trying to become? Or could fear and prejudice extinguish the brightness of his newfound family? As Alex stood before the crowd, the weight of their doubt pressed on him like a heavy cloak. Each second felt like a lifetime, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. The faces blurred together, some curious, some judgmental. He took a deep breath and searched for strength. This wasn't just about him. It was about Ella, Max, and Sophie, who had turned his world upside down and lit a fire in his heart. "Thank you for coming tonight," he started, his voice steadying despite the storm inside him. "I'm here to talk about something that's become a cornerstone of my life." His gaze found a group of concerned mothers in the front row, their arms folded. He felt the electricity of their skepticism but pushed that aside. "These triplets, they are everything I didn't know I was missing." A murmur rippled through the audience. Alex pressed on, I know some of you think this is a publicity stunt. I get it. I'm a billionaire with a picture-perfect life. But let me be very clear, this isn't about me. It's about family. It's about love. It's about giving hope to those who've been lost. He breathed again, connecting his words to the little ones, their laughter still ringing in his ears, images of warm hugs and playful mornings flooding his thoughts. This journey has changed me, he continued, his voice raw with emotion. I'm learning from them every day. They've taught me far more than any business meeting ever could. They've shown me the meaning of connection, of laughter even in dark times. They need stability, and I want to be that for them. For a brief moment, he let the silence envelop him, hoping they could feel the sincerity beating in his heart. Seeing each day through their eyes has been transformative. I want to be a father, not just for them, but growing into the person I've always wanted to be. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared near the back. Emily, his wife, her face tense. Anxiety etched deeply into her features. As she locked her eyes on his, he was taken aback. Was she here to support him, or had his enthusiasm pushed her away? Alex. She called out, cutting through the room. I need to say something. The room shifted as she stepped towards the front, her stride both determined and hesitant. Alex felt panic rise. What would she say? He stepped back, giving her the floor, a mixture of pride and dread coiling in his stomach. Emily was intelligent and strong-willed. Her opinion mattered. This isn't just your choice, it's ours. You've welcomed them into our lives, but you can't forget our dreams too. I'm scared. Her voice trembled but her gaze was fierce. 3 kids come with a world of responsibility. The tension felt thicker than fog. Alex's heart sank momentarily, but then he remembered the joy those 3 brought him. I know it's overwhelming, he said softly, but it doesn't have to be if we do this together. Emily looked at him and, for a fleeting moment, the wall between them seemed to crack. In that silence, he felt hope flicker. She wasn't shutting him down, she was reaching for an understanding. They could be a family if both filled with love and patience, but would that be enough to face the growing skepticism? What if their world unraveled as they tried to stitch a new one together? The gathering was leaning in, eager for a resolution. How would they build this life as a cohesive unit against the tide of public scrutiny? The questions echoed in Alex's mind just as the harsh truth was due to arrive. What happens when the following whispers shift from judgment to jealousy? The tension in the room hung like a thick mist. Alex's heart raced as he waited for Emily to respond, each breath feeling heavier than the last. He could sense their audience collectively holding its breath, caught in the emotional crossfire of his family's unfolding drama. Emily took a deep breath, her expression softening. You're right, Alex, she said, her voice quiet but steady. I've seen the joy they bring you. Your face lights up in ways I haven't seen in years. But she hesitated, the weight of her words looming. It's also scary. I don't want us to lose what we have. Alex stepped forward, closing the distance between them. We won't lose anything. We'll gain so much more. I never thought I'd feel this way about anyone, Emily. Not even with our years together. Ella, Max, and Sophie, they fill something in my heart that I didn't even know was empty. Across the room, a few heads nodded. People leaned in, genuinely engaged now. He could feel the shift, their curiosity mingling with understanding. But he could also feel the undercurrents, murmurs of doubts, irritable whispers filled with envy were bound to come. Alex, I want to believe you, Emily replied, a hint of desperation bleeding into her voice. But what if this isn't enough? What if our lives spiral out of control? What if your passion for them takes away from us? We were supposed to create a family that included each other, not just a sudden influx of children. A flicker of frustration crossed Alex's face. I'm not saying to toss everything aside. I want this to be inclusive for us both. I am asking you to trust me. Trust us. He gestured toward the triplets playing quietly on the side of the stage. Their innocent joy contrasted sharply with the turmoil in their parents' hearts. The audience was captivated. Eyes darted back and forth from Emily to the triplets, intrigued by how this story would unfold. Alex felt surreal, standing before this crowd, the fate of his family etched out. All I ask, he continued, leaning in, is for you to help me transform our lives into something beautiful, something meaningful. We're already on the precipice of change. Let us leap together, not apart. Emily's gaze softened as she looked around, taking in the wide-eyed faces, reflecting hope and uncertainty all at once. Alex could see the internal struggle within her. He wished he could hold her hand, assure her that everything would be all right. Then, looking back toward their listeners, he added, together, we can face those whispers. I believe we can be a family that stands against judgment, a family that radiates love and inspires others. Don't we owe it to ourselves to try? A soft gasp came from the crowd, and he caught a glimpse of understanding growing in Emily's eyes. Okay, she finally whispered, as if giving voice to a thought that had been trapped within. Let us try, but let us do it as a team. Relief flooded through Alex. Hope blossomed, but an underlying anxiety still gnawed at him. The approval shift from skepticism to expectation. It meant that the world would be watching. Before he could respond, someone from the audience shouted, "What about the critics? How can you lead a happy life when there are so many people watching?" Alex turned to the crowd, his heart pounding. The question hung in the air like a challenge begging for an answer. There was a fire ignited in him now, a sense of responsibility greater than before. What if this young billionaire together with 3 abandoned triplets could break the mold? He thought. What if their story could change the narrative? As he opened his mouth to respond, a flicker of realization washed over him. This was just the beginning, and the moment was ripe for revealing not just their inner struggles but a life renewed, built on connection and courage, but more than that, they were about to uncover whether love could truly transcend societal judgments and personal fears. Could he make it work? Thank you, he said, already feeling the gravity of the next chapter. But what if the real struggle hasn't even begun? The silence stretched out, palpable with anticipation. The room seemed to hold its breath again as Alex gathered his thoughts, reminding himself to speak from the heart. He could feel the weight of the audience's gaze, their expectations palpable, but also their hunger for a story that was deeper than just his struggle. It was about the hope for something new. What if embracing the unknown together is the path to living fully? He proposed, his voice steady yet vulnerable. What if I told you that these 3 incredible kids have already taught me more about love than I ever thought possible? He gestured toward the triplets, whose laughter was a bright melody against the tense backdrop of adult worries. He continued, they see the world with such untainted joy. We adults, we lose that perspective. But what if we could reclaim it? What if their innocence and spirit pulled us out of our mundane routines? That's not something to fear. It's something to celebrate. Emily took a deep breath, her expression softening, absorbing his words as if each one were a lifeline. There was a flicker of something in her eyes, hope perhaps, or maybe curiosity about the possibilities that lay ahead. But how do we do it? She finally asked, her voice trembling slightly. How can we be a family in the face of everything waiting to tear us down? The question echoed in the room, and Alex felt the stirrings of determination within him. By leaning on each other. By being completely transparent with our feelings and fears. We have to be honest about our struggles, together and with the world outside. His gaze swept through the audience. If I were to fall, to fail, would I not want to do it surrounded by love? By the laughter of children who believe in second chances? A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd. People shifted in their seats, their facades of skepticism beginning to crack. Alex felt a swell of gratitude for the support he had begun to see emerge, a light staining the edges of his worries that he turned to Emily again, closing the distance between them. Think of the journey ahead, living unapologetically. Growing together, and not just as parents, but as individuals. I want you by my side through this, because you are my anchor. You always have been. So will you stand with me? Tears glistened in Emily's eyes, the tension giving way to something resembling relief. I know you love them, she confessed, her voice full of emotion. I know how much they mean to you. And I want to support you. But if we're doing this, we must promise each other to never lose sight of us. Yes. That's the pact I want you both. Alex exclaimed, filled with a renewed fervor. The crowd erupted in applause. But amidst the applause, he saw a figure moving at the back of the room. A woman whose expression was shrouded in uncertainty. Her presence was a stark reminder of the critics that loomed outside this moment. What about those of us who are still afraid? She called out. All eyes shifted to her, and Alex's stomach twisted. He knew the threat wasn't just external. Doubt had a way of creeping in, and he felt it deep in his core. Then let us talk about that fear. He urged. Let us share our anxieties, our hopes. Because we cannot nurture a future while being shackled by our past. He sensed the energy shift again, as if the audience was ready to lean into the truth with him. But before he could elaborate more, he caught a glimpse of Emily's expression, hope mixed with fear. Could this work? Would their open discussion bridge the gap they were staring into? He knew this was only the beginning, but maybe, just maybe, they were on the edge of transforming not only their lives but reshaping the very narrative others felt confined by. As the applause began to die down, Alex felt a surge of courage. Let us uncover the answers together, he said, holding both Emily's and their future's fate in his hands. But would they all be ready to face what lay ahead? To unravel the truth buried beneath their fears, together? Just then, a child's laughter broke through the tension, reminding him of their mission. But how long could the joy last when doubt lingered, whispering in the shadows? The next step was calling. The moment hung delicately as Alex locked eyes with the woman in the back, feeling the shared weight of unspoken fears. He drew in a breath, ready to address the fear that lingered like a shadow, urging everyone toward the light. We all have a past, don't we? He began, his words weaving into the fabric of the crowd. It's messy, complicated, often painful, but it doesn't have to define us. He saw heads nodding, felt the subtle shift in the atmosphere. People were leaning in, hungry for connection and understanding. What if instead of letting those past experiences control us, we use them as stepping stones? Each stumble, each tear, adds to who we are today. They can help shape us into the families, the friends, the individuals we strive to be. Emily's hand slipped into his, a silent pledge between them. He could feel her warmth, her steady pulse against the uncertainty swirling in the air. His resolve deepened, and he continued, I want to hear your stories. Who here feels worn out from carrying their burdens alone? Alex scanned the crowd, and slowly, hands began to rise. Yes, right there. He said, pointing to a man with a weary expression. What's on your mind? The man hesitated, casting a nervous glance around before speaking. I lost my job a year ago, and it feels like I lost everything. My wife left me. I'm not even sure I can face my kids anymore. I feel lost. A hush fell over the room, and a heartbeat seemed to echo in the silence that followed. Alex could see tears brimming in many eyes. Thank you for sharing that, he said, his heart aching for the man. I think we can all relate to feeling lost at one point or another. But let us explore how we can support each other through that darkness. Emily stood beside him, her voice reaching out to the gathered crowd. This is not just Alex's journey, it's ours, all of ours. There is strength in vulnerability. In the way we lean on each other, in the way we allow ourselves to feel and heal. That's where the magic begins. Lively chatter started to rise from the audience. Some folks began to share pieces of their own stories, unburdening their fears, their hopes. Each story left echoes of laughter, sorrow, and even healing. A woman even adopted a playful tone. "Well, if you want to hear about a messy past, I can take the award for that." Laughter broke through the tension, and the walls continued to crack. Throughout those moments, Alex glanced at the triplets. Their innocent gazes softened the heaviness that had settled around them. It was in their laughter that the promise of change resided. As tears mixed with laughter, Alex felt hope surging again. "Look at us!" he exclaimed. "We're not just individuals facing life's struggles, we are a community. Together, we can carve a path into the unknown." Just then, there was a small yet impactful moment. One of the triplets, a little boy with big blue eyes, climbed onto the stage. He looked around with a bright smile and announced confidently, "Can we play a game now? I want everyone to be happy." The room erupted into a chorus of laughter, tension dissipating like mist in the sun. Alex knelt down beside the boy, his heart swelling not just at the innocence but at the unity being forged in that very moment. "Yes, let us play," he replied, lifting the child onto his shoulders. "But first, let us take one more leap of faith together. Let us talk about what we truly want for our future. What do we envision?" The energy pulsed with excitement. Eyes sparkled with possibility as several people began to speak out, sharing their hopes, dreams, even their secret desires. But amidst the growing fever of anticipation, Alex caught sight of the woman who had first posed the question, her face still clouded with worry. "And what if it doesn't work, Alex? What then?" Her voice pierced through the rising joy, a stark reminder of the doubts that lay beneath. His heart sank for a moment, the truth of her words resonating deeper. What if it didn't work? What if this beautiful bond broke under the pressure? But then, he felt the vibrations of hope echoing through the laughter and dreams shared around them. "What if it does?" he said softly, the question slipping from his lips. Just then, the boy on his shoulders clapped his tiny hands. "Can we try and see? It sounds fun." "Exactly." Alex smiled, lifting his eyes to meet the crowd again. "Let us embrace the possibilities, no matter how uncertain. Let us take that leap, together." With renewed energy, the room buzzed with eager whispers and laughter. But as the echoes of hope filled the air, Alex felt a flicker of unease settle back. Lingering just out of reach, was everyone truly ready to fly? Would they be brave enough to pursue a path paved with love and understanding? The real challenge was just beginning, and he couldn't quite shake the feeling that this was merely the calm before a storm. The next pivotal step awaited them. There was no turning back now. The laughter filled the room, wrapping around everyone like a warm blanket. For a moment, fears were forgotten, and possibilities danced in the air. But Alex noticed something shifting in the crowd. While many wore expressions of hope, that one woman still looked troubled. Perhaps it was the same worry that touched so many hearts in the room. What if this was just a fleeting moment of joy? "All right," Alex called out, his voice cutting through the chatter. "Let us get this game started. How about a trust fall?" His smile radiated enthusiasm, but he eyed the crowd closely, gauging their readiness. The boy on his shoulders exclaimed, "I'll go first." His excitement was infectious, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Together, they formed a small circle, laughing and readying themselves for the game of trust. As the first participant stepped forward, Alex couldn't help but feel a wave of anxiety wash over him. He had seen how fragile these moments of connection could be, how easily they could turn. He gestured to the boy to step down gently, not wanting to put too much pressure on him. "Okay, buddy, why don't we let someone else try first?" he suggested kindly. The boy nodded, and Alex stepped back, watching as a woman with tears shining in her eyes took her place. She hesitated for just a heartbeat, but the encouragement from those around her warmed her resolve. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes and fell backward into the supportive arms of her friends. Cheers erupted, and her laughter mingled with the crowd's joy, igniting a fire that filled the room. Alex felt a surge of hope himself. If a simple game could coax out that kind of joy, could it also inspire transformation? The atmosphere shifted. People volunteered one after another, emboldened by each catch, each supportive embrace. Even the man who had felt so lost earlier joined in, his smile brighter with every attempt. But Alex couldn't shake off the weight of the woman's question, lingering in his mind like a ghost. And what if it doesn't work? It resonated now, a different voice, an echo of doubt that crept back into his heart. Not everyone was ready to embrace this change, he realized. Some carried scars that might never heal, shadows they weren't ready to expose. After several rounds, Alex took a moment to check in. "How's everyone feeling?" he asked, his tone intentionally light, but he scanned their faces for genuine responses. A younger man, with tousled hair and sparkling eyes, raised his hand. "I'm scared. What if I fall and no one catches me?" The honesty in his voice struck Alex. The fear of vulnerability could crush even the brightest spirits. "That's okay. It's normal to feel scared. But we're all here together," he replied gently, echoing the sentiment of community. "We're here to catch one another, through the falls and the rises." Just then, Emily stepped up beside him, her eyes warm and full of life. "What if this isn't just about the game? What if we're all rediscovering trust in ourselves, trust in each other?" A soft murmur of agreement flowed through the crowd. It was illuminating, and Alex saw realization dawning on some faces. "Let us take that fear and transform it," he suggested, a newfound determination hardening his voice. "What if we shared our fears? Sharing might take the shadow away." Silence followed, heavy and thick. Who would dare to speak? But then the woman who had been worried raised her hand again. "What if I share my fear and it changes nothing? What if I still feel alone?" With deep empathy, Alex took a step closer. "What if sharing makes you feel just a little lighter? Or creates a connection you never thought possible?" Another hand shot up. It was the man who had lost everything. "I'll go first. I've been carrying this weight for too long." As he spoke, Alex felt the room take a collective breath, tension shifting again. The space felt alive with raw honesty. The game that began as mere fun had turned into something far more profound, a living tapestry of shared struggles, a collective healing that seemed to tighten around everyone like a comforting embrace. But even as the waves of connection grew, Alex remained aware of the storm building in the distance. Could they all ride this wave together? Were they truly ready for both the pain and the healing? As the man shared his truth, a shared connection blossomed, but the uncertainty simmered beneath the surface. The real journey was just beginning, but he couldn't predict where the path would lead them all. Would they weather the storm, or would it unravel everything they had forged in this brief moment? The room vibrated with shared stories and growing hope, but worry clung tightly, whispering answers he was too afraid to address. Would they be willing to face the truth that lay ahead? The man spoke, his voice honest and shaky, unraveling layers of pain. "I lost my family last year," he began, eyes casting down as if afraid to meet anyone's gaze. "I used to think I was strong enough to handle anything. But when they were gone, I felt like I was just floating through life, waiting for something to pull me under." A hush enveloped the room, the kind of silence that thrummed with shared vulnerability. People leaned closer, absorbing his pain, echoing his fears. Alex felt a knot in his throat, but he pushed it down, encouraging others to be brave. As the man continued, there was an unexpected heaviness to his words, a clarity that had everyone hung up on his every syllable. "I live alone now. There's this emptiness. I thought maybe I could find some solace in sharing this with people who might understand." The room began to stir with whispers and nods, like a ripple spreading through calm water. Every shared story revealed something painful, yet it also displayed the strength of the collective. Alex watched as more hands were raised, one by one. A middle-aged woman, her face lined with worry but tempered with bravery, stepped forward next. "I've been fighting depression for years. There are days I can hardly get out of bed. I think people don't understand, they don't see the scars beneath my skin," she said, voice quivering. Her eyes glistened, but there was a spark of something deeper too, a resolve to be heard. From the back, a young girl's voice piped up. "It's scary to feel alone. I thought no one would care if I ended it all. Sometimes it feels like the world just keeps spinning while I'm stuck, like I don't belong anywhere." The weight of their truths hung in the air, mingling with the laughter that had once filled the room. A sense of kinship was building. Alex could see it in their expressions. "You belong here, with all of us," he said, feeling a swell of responsibility and warmth. "You are not alone, it's together that we can start to heal." He locked eyes with the woman from earlier, the one who had sparked that ghost of doubt in his heart. "What about you? You seem to carry a lot of worry. Would you like to share?" For a moment, the air stilled. It was a risky moment, one that could tip the playful energy into something raw and powerful. But Alex squared his shoulders, hoping to encourage her. She took a deep breath, shakily shifting from foot to foot, the weight of the room's gazes resting on her. "I'm afraid of trusting too much. I've been let down so many times that, what if I open up and nobody catches me?" There it was, the crux of their fears, the question that hung in the air like thick fog. Was trust worth the risk? Alex felt it too. Suddenly, the room erupted in murmurs of agreement. He could see how important this was, how vital it was to unravel their bindings and let the air in. But what if he paused, searching for just the right words? What if by letting others in, you find support you never knew existed? The tension shifted again as stories began to overlap, forming connections like pieces of a puzzle. They were all navigating the same sea of isolation, and yet, here was a spark, an invitation to light each other's way through their struggles. As voices began to intertwine, melding fears into shared fears, Alex felt the energy morph into something fertile, a chance for healing, yet still so uncertain. He thought of the storm brewing in the distance. Could they truly transform this moment into something lasting? Or was this a temporary high, destined to fade with the first raindrop of reality? One by one, they began to hold hands, forming an unbroken chain, evoking both warmth and unity. But just then, a loud crash echoed from outside, the unmistakable sound of thunder. A hush fell over the group as their heads turned toward the open door, a stark reminder that the outside world was ready to intervene. Would the storm signal their undoing, or could it drive them closer together? And in that charged moment, anticipation was palpable. Would they face the tempest together or find it tear them apart? The thunder rolled again, shaking the room and pulling everyone back to the moment. Eyes darted toward the entrance, where the wind howled, but Alex focused on the people around him. He could feel the spark of connection they had just begun to forge, flickering against the dark shadows that surrounded them. "We can do this," he said, his voice firm, cutting through the tension. "Whatever happens outside, in here, we have each other. Let the storm come." The young girl clutched her friend's hand, her knuckles white. "What if we're not strong enough?" she finally whispered, glancing toward the door as if it might swallow them whole. Alex took a step closer, lowering his voice. "We are stronger together. Just look around. Each of us is here, not just for ourselves but for one another. We're a team now." As if on cue, the man who had started it all took a deep breath, the tremor in his hands slowly subsiding. "You're right," he said softly. "I thought sharing would put me at risk. But maybe it's the only way forward." That brought a few nervous smiles and nods. They were starting to embrace the idea that vulnerability was not weakness but a strength. It was the foundation of their unity. The storm raged outside, and rain began to pound against the windows, a relentless reminder of the chaos beyond these walls. But inside, among the flickering candlelight and shared breaths, something beautiful brewed, a kind of courage they had been missing. The middle-aged woman nodded toward the girl. "You're not alone, sweetie. I've had moments where I felt like I was at the bottom, but sharing those moments has helped me climb. I feel like I can't climb far enough, the girl replied, her voice thick with emotion. What if we climb together? Another voice chimed in, an older man who hadn't spoke yet. I lost my job a year ago and thought that was the end of everything. But then I found a community that lifted me. That's it. Alex shouted, letting the energy carry him. Imagine all the people out there feeling alone, just like us. What if we could take what we find here tonight and spread it beyond these walls? Bursts of energy erupted in the room as heads nodded in agreement, thoughts flashing like lightning. Let us share our stories. Let us write them down and create something that can help others, the young girl exclaimed, excitement replacing her earlier fear. With newfound determination, Alex pulled together ideas, each voice a thread weaving a tapestry of hope. They were no longer isolated voices. They could be a chorus, echoing strength, warmth, and resilience, but then, just as they were building momentum, another loud crash struck their ears. A window had shattered, sending a sharp adrenaline rush through the room. Silence hung thick like smoke, a stark reminder that while they were safe for now, the storm was wild and unpredictable. Are we still in this together? Alex asked, his heart racing. Would they retreat and let fear win, or stay united? A chorus of affirmatives rang out, voices shaky but resolute, building like fire. And for the first time, Alex realized that amidst the storm, they found something they might have thought lost: real hope, tethered through shared experience. As they prepared to share their stories, a flicker of light from the door drew their attention again. Someone was standing there, silhouetted against the storm. What storm had come to knock on their door? Was it a friend seeking refuge or a new challenge to face together? A figure stood framed in the doorway, wrapped in a soaked coat, the wind tossing their hair wildly. The tension in the room turned electric as Alex squinted, trying to grasp who had risked the storm for a chance at shelter. Was it a stranger seeking help, or had they stumbled into something far more sinister? We need to help them, the girl urged, her fear now mingled with anxiety. But before anyone could move, the newcomer pushed through. The door creaked shut behind them, and for the first time, the storm's cacophony dulled, replaced by a vast silence as they stood still, waiting for the first words to break through. Sorry to intrude, the newcomer said, their voice steady but laced with exhaustion. I saw your light and thought, well, I thought I'd find safety here. Alex's heart raced. He scanned the crowd's faces for their reactions, a mix of curiosity and caution, like fireflies caught in a headlight. The newcomer dropped their gaze, breathless, as if they were an unexpected piece of this fragile puzzle they had begun to assemble. Please, tell us your name, Alex urged, stepping forward. I'm Jamie. I lost my way in the storm, both literally and figuratively, they managed through shuddering breaths. I was on my way home when this storm caught me. I thought I'd shelter in a friend's place, but... What happened? Someone from the corner pressed, the question hanging like the thick humidity in the air. Jamie hesitated, choosing their words carefully. I realized I don't have a home anymore. It's been years since I've felt like I truly belonged anywhere. Sympathy rippled through the room. There were soft murmurs and shared glances, the expression of painful recognition. Each face reflected a story of loss, a thread of seeking woven into their very being. I know what that feels like, the middle-aged woman spoke up again, her voice gentle yet carrying the weight of experience. I was lost too, not knowing where I belonged until I found my community. It's scary, but sometimes it's the connection we make that shows us the way. As Jamie absorbed these words, the flickering candlelight danced on their face, revealing vulnerability in their wide eyes. Alex could see a chance for him and the others to extend the kindness they had just begun to nurture. You're not alone now, he assured Jamie with a warmth he hoped would pierce through the storm's chill. You're among friends here. The young girl took a small step forward, her initial fear forgotten. What if we all shared our stories? It might help us find the way together. Yes. Alex nodded in agreement, excitement bubbling again. Let us connect through our shared struggles. Hear each other out. In that moment, the winds howled again, but it felt different, less threatening, more like a rallying cry in the distance, urging them to forge ahead. One by one, hands began to rise, stories pouring out, battered yet beautiful. Laughter emerged between sad sighs. As connections stitched their brokenness together, hope began to manifest like strong roots pushing through cracked concrete, but just then, a loud crack echoed from outside, followed by a heavy thud. The candles flickered, and a palpable anxiety rippled through the room. Were they still safe? Every face turned to the window, hearts racing again. What was that? The older man whispered, his voice barely above a breath. Alex's mind filled with questions, and the warmth that was building flickered like the lights. We need to check it out. Together. Would they face what lurked in the shadows, or let fear creep in and splinter their newfound bond? The tension hung heavily in the air as Alex took a step toward the door. He could feel the pulse of collective apprehension. Jamie shifted nervously beside him, their face a canvas of worry. What if it's something dangerous? They asked, voice trembling. He turned to the others, finding courage reflected in their eyes. We have to be brave, Alex said, backing his words with unyielding resolve. Together, we can face anything. As he reached for the doorknob, a collective breath held tight, he swung the door open. The storm outside raged on, raindrops splattering against the ground like tiny percussionists trying to outshine the thunder. But their eyes widened at the sight a massive tree branch had fallen, blocking their way out. There was a moment of silence, as if the world paused to appreciate the spectacle. Then laughter erupted from the group behind him. Well, I guess that's one way to stop us, the middle-aged woman chuckled, her tension lifting like a dew-drenched leaf in sunlight. Alex grinned, relief flooding through him. Looks like we're stuck for a bit. The warmth of camaraderie melted away the remnants of dread, an unspoken understanding forming among them. I guess this means we can share our stories without distractions, the young girl piped up, her face lighting up with the thrill of the unexpected. Yeah. Let us do it. Piped Ella, one of the triplets, tugging on Alex's pant leg. Can we tell about our day? It was super cool. Of course, sweetie. He said, his heart swelling at her infectious excitement. Around him, others echoed their agreement. With laughter and encouragement, they settled into a circle, passing around stories like treasured keepsakes, each laughter overlapping with heartache woven through. Jamie shared their lonely quest for belonging. The man who had lost his family spoke of the aching silence in his home, but also the flicker of hope ignited by this unexpected community. Each voice, a thread, each story, strengthening the bond they were creating. They wove their pasts and discovered glimmers of light in the darkness of shared experiences. Tears mixed with laughter as Emily took her turn, recounting her initial hesitation toward fatherhood but acknowledging the warmth spilling from the triplets, a love she never anticipated. I was afraid, she confessed, her voice quivering yet steady. But watching Alex transform through their eyes has shifted my heart in ways I can't explain. I see how they pull him into joy and now me too. Applause erupted for Emily. It infused the air with a warmth that spread like sunshine breaking through clouds. As it died down, Alex felt compelled to speak. We're more than a group of individuals sharing space. We're a family now, he addressed the room, his eyes sparkling with fervor. We've each faced storms. But let us be the shelter for one another, let us be the warmth when the world feels cold. Yes. A few voices shouted, enthusiasm bubbling. The rain continued to lash against the windows, but for the first time, fear dimmed to a distant echo as acceptance and kinship enveloped them. Suddenly, the little boy once again raised his hand. Can we make promises? What kind of promises? Alex asked, intrigued. Promises to help each other. He declared. Like promises to be there when we're scared. When we're lost, too. Let us do it. Jamie nodded firmly, taking a brave step forward. I will promise to reach out to someone when I need help. One by one, hands shot up. I promise to share my truth. I promise to check in. I promise to celebrate every small victory. The energy in the room buzzed with excitement and affirmation, their promises intertwining into a tapestry of mutual support and trust. And then, right as they sealed their promises with shared laughter, the storm began to weaken, the rain easing into a gentle sprinkle. Outside, the world began to shimmer under the soft glow of streetlights piercing through the clouds. As the door cracked slightly under the weight of the declining storm, a ray of sunlight broke through. Maybe it's time now, Alex mused softly. They all turned toward the door, a glimmer of hope dancing in their eyes. Together? Emily asked, linking her arm with Alex's. Always. And with another shared breath, they stepped out into the light, no longer solitary, but bound by trust, support, and love, stepping into a new life crafted from their shared vulnerabilities. As they walked into the warmth of the sun-drenched world, Alex felt that he had certainly not only found hope for himself but had become a beacon for others as they journeyed forward. So, take your time with all this, understand that every step toward vulnerability can light the path for others. Live, laugh, and embrace the connections we forge. And this is where our story ends, but the journey continues. But before you leave, don't forget subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you want more, comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your support matters, and only true fans understand the impact of these actions.